International Raceway. We're going to be doing this makeup race today, and then we also have 2 more races throughout the weekend. So I think we've got a track map to go ahead and pick out exactly where the important corners are going to be as these cars get ready to roll off onto that racetrack.
Exactly. We'll cover that in just a second here, but this is a fun one, but a very cool morning that the drivers are dealing with. And here, let's take a little bit of a look around this place.
Yeah, right here on the Virginia, North Carolina border, Virginia International Raceway, a 17-turn facility that is just an amazing place to come and turn laps, to come and race. If you can find yourself out here to this place, it is worth the time. Turn number 1, always important because it is a big-time passing opportunity. Good brake zone down there, so watch for that to be an action zone. Turn number 4, things start to narrow up, and then you go up through the climbing S's here at VIR Oak Tree. Turn number 12, always important because it leads you out onto that incredibly long back straightaway. And then, Joe, to round out the lap here, it's through Roller Coaster and down out of Hog Pen.
Exactly. Watch for some of those action spots because there could be places that could elicit mistakes out here. In the meantime, we've got a chance to go through our starting grid. We've got a decent-sized field out for today's race, so that should be quite a bit of fun, having a few more cars than we've been used to in recent rounds here in Mustang Cup. And on the front, it is going to be Andrew Hordes on the pole. Miller Richmond will be starting in P2. From there, it'll be Cale Buell starting in 3rd, Shane Griffin in P4. Watch out for our 5th place starter, 5th and 6th place starters, as Nick Smither from the back is going to have a little bit of pace there to try and challenge up towards front in the Dark Horse Legends. But Will Lucas, who has been dominant all the way from P6 here in row 3, is probably going to give us some excitement here today from Off-Leash Motorsports. Then you get down into row number 4, and you've got Craig Capaldi, another driver that's a bit out of position, alongside Leo Capaldi, his father, taking part in today's race. Missing just a couple that will be with us farther on in this weekend, but since this is a makeup race, they can't participate in the Road America round. You can see them heading down past the condos and through the dip out of South Bend onto that long straight you were talking about here, Joey. This corner exit out of Oak Tree probably going to be the most important.
100%, and you see all that extra runoff on drivers left outside of the curbs there. I expect to see the drivers use up all of that in trying to get the launch, trying to put all 500-plus horsepower from these big V8 engines down to the ground. But I think when I look at the landscape of today's race, you kind of touched on it. It's that number 34 car that's starting from the middle of the field. Will Lucas has started nowhere but pole position. He has led pretty much every single lap this season. We're going to see how fast he can make his way through this field.
And this one might wind up being very important for Craig Capaldi. He's got a lot of ground to make up on Nick Smither, and only these 2 Parnelli Cup races to try and catch up to him in the Legends standing. Craig had to miss a round, of course, earlier on in the season, so that put him on the back foot. And now he tries his best to catch up to Nick Smither, who has a lead of about 40 points at this stage. And if Nick Smither finishes in 2nd and Craig wins both times, that's only going to be a 12-point difference. So Craig has to win and needs a bad day for Nick. As we come around out of the last corner here on to the main straight, the pace car is in. We wait for the call from the flag stand as the cars are ready to go here at Virginia International Raceway. And it looks like the green flag is out as the engines roar. The horses are out of the barn and tunneling down towards turn 1 at the horseshoe. Looks like a big look up into the inside by Nick Smither, but he's going to be held off by Cale Buell as up at the front. It seems as though Hordes has got control of this field. This might be the first time we've actually seen him lead a race.
Yeah, he's out front in that purple number 23. Then it's Cale Buell in the white car with the green highlights. Then we got Nick Smither slotting into 3rd place. I noticed that number 14 of Craig Capaldi, very aggressive on that opening start. Definitely gained a couple positions. You had kind of mentioned this battle between Smither and Capaldi. Well, here we are, turn 5, it's already on.
Yeah, and Craig has won every single race that he has attended in that Legends class. So the stats are with him, but he's going to have to make a pass. He had a great battle back at Lime Rock Park with Nick Smither, which wound up both of them off track into turn one. Let's hope that they can both keep it on the course this time.
Up through the S's for the first time. This beautiful purple number 23 leads this pack of Mustang Cup cars down into what was the oak tree turn down here, turn number 12. You see the number 14 car getting really close to the back of Nick Smither, but it's all about the launch out of the corner. You got to get the run out onto the straightaway.
Got to give credit to Andrew Hordes, doing a very good job here up at the front for his first time leading the race with Buell still behind him. We got a battle, though, coming up towards the roller coaster, and it looks like Craig got the better exit. He is fully ahead now as they head towards the braking. Give P1 in the Legends class up to Craig Capaldi.
And I think this is pretty important for Craig here, because if he can actually clear these two cars directly in front of him, I mean, I don't even see Will Lucas in this shot right now. I think he's actually still behind Miller Richmond, so Will Lucas is actually the sixth car in line. I think he's just kind of getting everything up to temperature, letting everything settle in, but right now, Andrew Horde's leading the way.
He is, in fact, going to lead this first lap, but he's being hotly tailed by Cale Buell coming down into the first corner. And, in fact, Capaldi taking a little bit of a look, but gets back into line as they break for the horseshoe. They'll stay as they were, but it looks like the pressure is starting to pile on early for this purple 23. And Buell, did he just lose a position? Craig seems to have gotten by.
Yes, he certainly did. Maybe a little bit wide out of turns number 1 and 2 for Cale Buell, and Craig Capaldi took advantage. I will say that Craig has been working with Cale Buell, improving the racecraft, and I think he was really proud of what happened back there at Lime Rock with how much Cale was attacking his competitors, attacking the racetrack, and it was interesting right there. Kind of had the teacher behind the student.
Exactly. Another lesson to learn out of that one. And another good exit out of the Snake. That's the overall lead. Now, you might have noticed that Hordes did not fight that very hard. Again, that is in the Dark Horse class, and then the Dark Horse Legends class is Capaldi. So that will not change the points situation, but it does continue to build a buffer as there are now two cars between he and his next rival.
I think it's that buffer that we really need to kind of pay attention to, because how fast can this number 14 car try to run away from everybody versus that number 34 car that's still kind of stuck back here in 5th place overall. Like you said, a little bit of a buffer between some cars.
Also want to correct myself from earlier. It looks like we do have more than the 8 that we had listed there, as Salvatore and Shane Griffin are out on track. Ooh, there was a little bit of a look as Will Lucas is trying to see if he can sneak by Smither coming into the roller coaster. I'm a bit surprised. I thought Lucas would be a little bit more of a hard charger early in this race, but like you said, maybe he's just kind of biding his time.
I think he's just being very nice. I think he's being very patient. It was at this point on the racetrack just a lap ago that he was significantly further behind. I mean, you can see the closing rate. He just absolutely nailed the exit out of turn number 17. So now he's going to be setting up Nick Smither down into turn number 1. You see Nick take the defensive road, and actually here comes Cale Buell on Andrew Hordes, deep on the brakes into turn number 1, move Cale up into 2nd.
And into the lead in class. So that is our current Dark Horse leader in the number 8. And behind him, Will Lucas again on the attack on Smither, coming up towards NASCAR. He's on the wrong side of the track. He'll get back in line. But we've had a few changes up at the front as Craig has actually been running away.
Yeah, that last lap, a 2:02.0, I believe, out of Craig. So the fastest lap on the racetrack, about 3 seconds faster than this group that we are watching. And I'm sure that team managers over there at the number 34 are taking note and saying, hey, Will, don't let them get out there too far.
Meanwhile, they do still have Miller Richmond behind them as well, trying to hold on. Leo Capaldi then a little bit farther back on the podium down in the Dark Horse Legends. But this has been a good run from Horde so far. If he does allow Smither through, that won't be for class position. It'll be Will Lucas that he's looking out for. They'll come up to the oak tree once again, trying to go around this double apex right-hander and look for the run off the corner. That seems like a good one for Smither.
Yeah, the 58 in that white, red, and blue car did put the power down nicely, so he's going to look to sit in the slipstream of that number 23. You see Andrew kind of pick the middle of the racetrack. This is an interesting section, the braking for roller coaster up here. You can kind of decide to be driver's left, but Nick Smither going to drive around Andrew Hordes and take that position.
Smither sets off after Craig Capaldi. Still has to get by Buell, though, as he'll be split by him. And then, of course, we've got Lucas just kind of watching behind, still waiting, see if this is the run maybe he's looking for out of Hogpen. He's caught up to Hordes. Hordes could lose a second position in one lap. And, wow, look at the distance up at the front as we get visual of Capaldi kind of flashing for just a moment, and Buell definitely showing a long ways between himself and Hordes. Meanwhile, Hordes does not defend down to the inside. Will Lucas slices up through into the next position. That'll give him second in Dark Horse class.
And you were mentioning those lap times, especially out of Cale Buell, a 2:01.1. That is only a couple tenths off of their fastest practice times earlier in the weekend. So these cars, these drivers right now putting it on full display. Cale trying to chase down Craig Capaldi, and I expect that these two cars will probably have a battle this lap as well.
No doubt. He couldn't manage it before as Smither managed to separate himself briefly with the use of Andrew Hordes. Now that he's caught back up to him, it's kind of a one-on-one fight this time. Nobody else around, but you can't really pass through the climbing S's, so he may have to wait. Little bit of dust being kicked up as drivers try to straight line this section.
I think that's a common sight to see here at VIR, and just analyzing these two cars, certainly seems like the car chasing, that's the number 34, was maybe a little bit more over that apex curb at turn number 10, but this is the important one, turn number 12, and you see Nick Smither do a great job to run all the way out over that exit, but I think the time is limited. Here comes Will Lucas.
Got a great run coming up Madison Avenue. He'll have what'll be the inside on the first little kink into the roller coaster, but it'll switch back as it'll be the outside, but I don't think it'll matter much. He's fully clear by the time they get to the braking, and there we go. That'll put Will Lucas into third overall, but he does have a little bit to make up now at this stage. I'm seeing about 3.5 seconds up to Cale Buell. I got to give Cale credit. He's doing what he's got to do while Will was distracted there and is trying his best to run away because I think he knows that Will's going to have the pace.
Couldn't agree more. And remember what I said about Cale and Craig Capaldi. They've definitely been working together, improving the racecraft, really both of these drivers. So I'm sure that Cale is anxious to go and try to chase down his coach in the number 14 car as well. And I think that last lap out of Cale, 2:01.3. So that's 2 laps in a row. That's within a quarter of a second of each other.
And this would be important because nobody else has won in that Dark Horse class this entire season except Will Lucas. Cale could be the first to finally topple him on that front as we ride on board as well, watching just up the road and of course, maybe a little bit bright here on our camera, trying to make out exactly what we were seeing there. Looking back, Andrew Hordes now being caught by Leo Capaldi. That looks like Miller Richmond not too far behind as well.
Yeah, so that's Leo in the 68, like you were saying, and then Miller Richmond is that second white car. There's 2 white cars that look pretty similar out there, but this is the purple 23 of Andrew Hordes being chased by the white 68 of Leo Capaldi. Up into what is turn number 10 here at VIR, the fast left-hander. Dive down towards 11 and 12. What used to be known, well, it still is known as the oak tree turn down here, leading out onto the back straightaway. We're just missing the tree now.
Yeah, unfortunately, has lost that beautiful icon many years ago at this stage, which still seems weird. It's been so long. But, oh, this is a good run from Leo Capaldi. He's putting the pressure on. The 23 stays to the right-hand side. And this is the guy that's running the team that Andrew is racing for. So don't want to mess up these cars too much. And that is going to be Leo through.
I was just looking at my timing and scoring. I still see a ton of green sectors, green lap times, and green means personal best. But I also see purple. Purple Sector 2 from Will Lucas. It certainly seems like he's got a little bit of clean air right now. and he's starting to let that car loose. In fact, he's already caught Cale Buell right on the back end by about 5 car lengths.
Yeah, as soon as you were talking about it, I was looking in front of us here at our booth, and he has definitely gotten to the back of that green and white car. Now, it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass. And while Lime Rock Park last time out was probably more difficult than VIR, this place can provide some challenges for overtakes.
It can, especially if you've got 2 cars that are incredibly similar on that performance level. I do feel like this multicolored number 34 is maybe just a touch faster at this stage in the race right now, so I think he's really going to be laying the pressure on. After all, his fastest lap in qualifying earlier this weekend was a 158.3, and he actually just put down a 158.4, so this driver is up on it.
We got to remember that time is on the side of Will Lucas as well. We've got a little under 30 minutes plus a lap left to go. So he's going to have plenty of times around to try and size up this number 8. See if he can find any sort of weakness. Where would be the most likely spot to get by? This could be one right here coming out of the oak tree as they both try to square off that exit. And it does seem decent, but I got to give credit to Cale Buell. Looks like he got on the throttle at a good amount of time, but here comes the 34.
Yeah, and the 34 is actually choosing the opposite side of the racetrack from Cale Buell, and typically that tells me maybe the temperatures are a little bit warm here at Virginia. You know, it's a relatively cool day, although it's supposed to be up to about 70 degrees here in the afternoon, so maybe the 34 just taking care of everything for this entire weekend.
Last lap was the fastest lap of the race of anybody for Will Lucas at that 58.4. What's it going to look like now that he's been plugged up behind Cale Buell? And how quickly can he get by? Because we have to remember that Craig Capaldi's still putting in good laps up in front of them. Last one was a 2:01.8 for our overall leader. Down to the inside. It was a great exit coming out of Hogpen. Doesn't look like Cale can do much to fend this one off as the inside and the apex will go to Lucas. He takes the lead in Dark Horse.
Yeah, class lead to the 34. Now he's got about 6.3 seconds between himself and the overall leader. That's the Legends class leader, Craig Capaldi, in that white number 14 just up the road. I think that this is perfect timing, really. I think that if Will had kind of let these passes go for another 5 or 6 minutes, it'd be a little bit of a danger area, but I still think it's on track for this 34.
And credit to Cale Buell. Again, I know I've been saying that a lot, but he set his personal best lap. So he's been pushing. He's not resting on his laurels with this one. He was trying his darndest to hold down Will Lucas, but that would have been a very difficult task with the speed we've seen. Did you see the slide, though, out of Will there coming up through the S's?
You got to have the car on the absolute limit, and if you're here at VIR, I highly suggest you go watch those uphill S's. That's my favorite place on this racetrack, and especially with these Mustang Cup cars, they still move around a little bit, right? It's not a GT3 car. It's not a GT4 car with all these aerodynamic add-ons, so I do feel like they do sort of move around, and was that Will going by Craig on the back straightaway?
That's what I was just trying to figure out. We'll see. Our timing would update here at this sector, which should be that was. Something's happened to Craig Capaldi. He was very slow. I hope it's not a mechanical gremlin.
Well, and he was slow on the previous lap at 2:01.8. Now, I shouldn't call that slow, but it was off pace for what Craig has done, and now Cale Buell has also gotten by that number 14, so I think you hit the nail on the head.
Man, this is going to be gutting because that might put the nail in the coffin on him taking that Dark Horse Legends Parnelli Cup championship, because Smither is about to go by him. Let's see who comes past us here. No, Craig seems to be up to speed, so it could have been an off.
I don't think so. I don't think it was an off. I didn't get a good solid audio hearing from the car going by, but it definitely maybe was a little bit down, and that's why we're seeing a 2:14 lap time. Craig was doing 1:59s, and it certainly seems like he's managing something inside the race car.
Yeah, we're getting word that he did slow, and he's early on the brakes, coming down into left hook. Nick Smither goes back to the lead of the Dark Horse Legends once again, with some seeming problems. Yeah, see, the car just does not seem to accelerate coming into the snake.
I agree with you, and I'm not going to jump to any sort of conclusions, but usually when these Mustangs rip by on the front straightaway, you can hear them, and this 14 definitely has a problem.
That is not at pace at all. He just got overtaken by, I think that was Salvatore. No, excuse me, that was Leo.
I think what's actually surprising me the most is Craig has so much experience in these cars that I'm actually surprised he didn't just pull it into pit lane. He must have felt that it could have regained whatever the problem was, and it certainly seems like going there into 11, it picked speed back up, but we'll see about on the straightaway.
Very strange goings on there, and that moves him down to third in the Legends class. If Salvatore catches him, he'll be off the podium, which I think he's about to be caught by that battle between Hordes and Salvatore for the overall sixth position, make that fifth. And as they pick up speed, Paolo is going to look down to the inside. This is up into the roller coaster. He's got the entry, but he won't have the next part of it as they're going to continue racing wheel to wheel, but he finally sneaks fully past and move him up to fifth.
Yeah, bring Miller Richmond into the battle as well. So nice pass there from the 84, that blue and white car. And now we've got that purple car of Andrew Horde sandwiched in between that car that just made the pass and Miller Richmond, that white number 5 car, as we complete yet another lap here at VIR. Looks like on the front straightaway here, Craig Capaldi is bringing it into pit lane.
Just a real disappointment on that one. This is now a battle for the final step of the podium in the Dark Horse class. Hordes versus Richmond down into the horseshoe. Hordes holds that spot. Richmond wants it, and it's going to be a one-on-one fight with Salvatore now having passed both of them. There we saw a little clip of Craig Capaldi just coming down into pit lane. No doubt going to be very frustrated after he started up at the front of this race.
Yeah, and I think I see him pulling it into the paddock, actually. So, yeah, really frustrating for the number 14 car for sure. Had his sights set a whole lot higher than what has happened here today. But this battle still raging on. Remember, the number 23 car did such a great job at the beginning of this race. Started on pole position, led those first couple of laps, and now has really settled into his groove.
You always talk about every race as a chance to learn, Joey, and I feel like that definitely would have been a new situation for Andrew. I'm sure there's a lot of things he picked up.
100%. You know, if you've never been racing before and you go to a racing school, they make you practice rolling starts. They put everybody out there on a grid. And let's say if you are new to racing and you've come here and you haven't been necessarily at the front of the field in terms of the speed, this was a great opportunity for that number 23 to essentially learn what it's like to lead the field to the green flag, learn what it's like to stand on the gas and lead everybody into turn one. It's certainly different.
Yeah, don't have those reference points like you usually do with other cars breaking around you into that first turn. How deep can you take it? And right now he's going to have to stay deep into those braking zones because Richmond continues to stay behind him by about a quarter of a second. Up here from the Yokohama blimp, we watch them fall down the hill. This is into Hogpin. This is a huge drop in elevation. And then it's once again a climb back up towards the main straight, which curves off to the right. And we're seeing Nick Smither. Is that Leo Capaldi managing to sneak past him? It looks like it. And that's going to give Leo Capaldi the lead in the Legends class.
Oh, so Capaldi is certainly trying to win the Legends class. If it's not going to be Craig, apparently Leo says he's going to go out there and carry the torch for the family and the racing team. Got to remember that Capaldi Racing has several of these Mustang Cup cars out here. I think about 5 or 6 of them. Definitely the biggest team in the paddock. So great to have that Capaldi Racing outfit out here and really kind of putting some muscle on display today.
And Smither's not one of those, though, so there's no alliances on that one. Smither back down to second, which really doesn't do much for poor Craig Capaldi since he's going to wind up scoring last on points for that one. Doesn't completely put him out of it mathematically, but it'll take something dramatic, I think. Meanwhile, watching the 68 of Leo Capaldi, he's already put a little bit of distance between himself and Smither, about 0.8 of a second between himself and second in class. Although, wow, coming through the oak tree, Smither looked pretty darn close there.
Certainly is close enough to be in the slipstream. Leo's going to take notice in that rear view mirror, but that last lap time out of that white 68 was the fastest in terms of today, a 201.7 for that driver. As we check in on Cale Buell, he's about 10 seconds, maybe about 12 seconds ahead of that battle we were just watching. So here he is coming out of what is the hog pen section here at VIR, shifted up into fourth gear, stand on that gas, and let the ponies free here on the front straightaway.
Yep, from a third place start to now second in class in this race with about half of it left to go, 19 minutes plus a lap for our drivers. So we're not close to the end quite yet. He still has to bring it home from here. Even if we see them separate, you've got to do your best to try and hold them back. In the meantime, that gap between our battle for third there is still quite close, so we'll check in on what is the battle for the lead in our Dark Horse Legends. I thought for a moment Leo Capaldi was going to kind of run away with this one, but Nick Smither is keeping him honest.
Well, tell you the truth, Joe, it's about to be 3 cars because the third car in line, Salvatore, 2:07. That was 3 seconds faster than this pair that we're watching, and he's only about 3 seconds behind them right now. So Leo Capaldi better get a move on if he's going to keep it in front.
This is the first race of the season for Paolo, so he's maybe learning a few things about being in these race situations, getting faster and faster as this race goes on. Could find himself in contention for a class win at the first time of trying. Depends on how much these two start to battle one another. But we're coming up to that oak tree once again. Both of them looking to try to square it off as best they can. Just glance that inside curb, nail the throttle, and let those horses roar.
And to your point from last lap, I actually think that Nick Smither is closer this lap coming out of Oak Tree. He is really sitting there in the tow, gaining on Leo Capaldi. You see that white car just kind of hanging out in the middle of the racetrack because Leo's not sure, do I have to go left, do I have to go right to defend, because that's how close Nick Smither is. Unfortunately not close enough to make a big lunge into the brake zone, and there's that third car creeping ever so closer.
Trying to check to see what the last lap times look like. Personal best for Paolo at a 2:07, and yeah, he was 3 seconds a lap faster than both of them, so he's coming in a hurry. And Will Lucas is showing in pit lane. In fact, he's just gone past us.
I am not sure what has happened to Will Lucas, but you're right. He is in pit lane, stopped in his pit stall right now. We're getting some action, and looks like there's a little bit of body work that was loose, and now they are taping up the car, and they're going to try to get him back out there.
He must have had some contact with something out there because he was definitely all on his own. We're hearing that he elected to do this on his own. He was not called into the pits, so maybe the crew caught out a little bit by this, but they are quick on it and sending him back out. He's got 16 minutes plus a lap to catch Cale Buell, but that is going to be a wide margin.
Well, I think that Will was probably looking forward to a challenge today, but maybe not this challenge. This is a little bit of a tough one to come back from, certainly, but we're going to see what he's made out of.
Ooh, this could get spicy. We already thought it was going to be interesting with him having to start towards the back of the field, but he made relatively quick work of it and was running away from Cale Buell. His lap times have been pretty good, but we'll see what the distance looks like as we start to see the timing and scoring update around this lap. Cale Buell, now your overall leader, still looking for that first win of his career.
That's what I was just about to mention. Instead of focusing on this number 34 and what's happening, let's focus on the positives. This is a great opportunity for Cale Buell in that number 8 car. He has got 11 seconds over this 3-pack of Dark Horse Legends cars, right? They're not even in the same class. This could be the day that Buell is looking for.
Exactly. And the next one down is Andrew Hordes and Miller Richmond. They're 22 seconds behind Cale Buell. He's got a handy lead in class no matter what at this stage. He has to bring it home from here. Can he manage to keep it on the circuit and get those laps down? He just flies past us now as we continue to watch the battle for the lead in the Legends class. Leo Capaldi up at the top of that. Nick Smither second. Paolo Salvatore is in third. They'll just go by our stand now as well, and it does look like Paolo has caught up to the back of them, and he's already showing his nose down into the horseshoe.
I think because this blue 84 has caught the back of Nick Smither, you see the little gap forming between Leo and Nick now. That's that first and second car in shot that we've been watching. So I think that Nick has definitely noticed his competitor come up in that rear view mirror. And that's something as a driver that you kind of have to learn to manage. You're going to let it affect you, or you're going to let it drive you to go even faster.
So it was about 46 seconds behind the overall leader for Lucas, just for those wanting to keep track of that. We hop on board with Cale Buell. Clear track in front of him. This is what he loves to see. Now he just has to execute. I do think that Lucas does have a chance to at least get to second or third in class, because Hordes and Richmond were somewhere in the realm of about 20 seconds ahead of him.
It's possible, right? And Will has been the fastest car pretty much every single weekend of Mustang Cup here in 2025. His fastest lap a little bit earlier in the weekend, I believe, was down in the low 58s. So if he can turn, call it mid 58s, or even call it 59 zeros, that could be taken out 6 seconds or so per lap, and we would just have to do the math at that point. I'm not good at that.
Neither am I, so we're in trouble. Well, and to complicate the math, the 84 we're finding out is not eligible for points because he did not qualify for this race originally, since this is a makeup race for the Road America round. So what that means is while he might finish wherever he is on the road, it will not count for a points position, and he will essentially disappear in terms of point scoring. But that will change once we get to the Miles Cup race tomorrow here for Virginia International Raceway. All right, Will Lucas sets the fastest lap of the race. Or no, excuse me, that was from previously. We'll see once he comes by. We did just see Leo Capaldi leading Smither, as now Salvatore is coming in.
Well, I wonder if this is what you were mentioning. I noticed that when he caught the back of Nick Smither, he kind of fell off in sector number 1, but I also wonder if it was just him knowing that he's not going to be getting any points here this weekend, rolling it up through the field, and then essentially bringing it down into pit lane.
Yeah, they're just checking tire pressures, it looks like, so they're not in a hurry trying to fix anything.
A test session, if you will.
Yeah, so that does make sense. But that is foreboding for his competitors, because he is on it from the word go, and he is going to be a challenge for them in the final 2 races of the weekend. Amongst the beautiful leaves here at VIR, they disappear up the hill once more. It is back to a 1-2 battle for the overall, or for the class win in Dark Horse Legends. Capaldi still ahead of Smither.
It's been a good fight, though, and I'm really impressed with this first race that we've had now. Technically, this is a Road America race that we have here at VIR, but the racing has been fantastic. We had the number 23 car as our pole sitter. Remember, he led those first couple laps. We got to see Will Lucas make his way up through the field. Craig Capaldi had a great race. He was leading when he had that problem, and it's all fallen into the lap of that number 8 car. Cale Buell is today the day that he picks up the win.
Yeah, those are encouraging signs for Craig Capaldi, that he was leading, like you said, and pretty handily by the time he had his issues. So if they can get that solved, hopefully he can take that out for the next 2 races. In the meantime, his father, Leo Capaldi, versus Nick Smither here. Nick continuing to stay close to him, but I haven't seen him within attacking range since we've been following this.
No, but remember how I was saying that when Salvatore kind of crept up in that rearview mirror, Nick actually fell off the back of Leo Capaldi. Ever since that blue 84 brought it into pit lane, it almost seems like Nick has been rejuvenated out there. And in fact, that last lap, a 2:03.3, so it's right on top of what Leo Capaldi was doing. I think the pressure might be starting to mount again.
Last lap for Will Lucas was a 59.4. So he's gaining on Bobco, is the next one up the road. That's outside of his class. We continue to watch these two down through NASCAR bend and towards the left hook. Does seem like a strong portion of the lap for the 58 car of Smither, as he gains a few car lengths, gets to within almost touching distance here. And then they'll once again start to pick up speed through the snake as they straight line the S's.
Try to make that path as straight as possible so that way you're not weaving the car around, bleeding off any speed. Seems like Leo was actually able to get out of that snake section maybe just a touch faster. There you see the cars really moving around in those uphill S's. We were kind of touching on that and how much Will was slide the car around in that section of the racetrack earlier, but all of these drivers right on the edge of traction.
Just want to make a note, you may have noticed from our tower on the left-hand side that Paolo has returned to the circuit, so I think that confirms our suspicions that wasn't really any sort of issue. It's just he's treating this as a test session of sorts. Another good run coming out of Oak Tree from Leo Capaldi. The wise old head knows how to defend, and that is preventing Smither from really getting any closer than we've seen him these last couple laps. In fact, puts a couple more tenths over that red, white, and blue machine.
You know, you called him wise, and Leo has got so many laps around so many tracks here in North America, and he knows this platform inside and out better than Craig Capaldi does, right? And he knows that as long as he can nail that corner exit, there's just simply no way that Nick Smither can get up there and pass him. Remember, this is quote-unquote spec racing, right? Everybody's in the exact same car, so there's no way that he can be dramatically faster on the straightaway if you both get the exact same exit.
Coming into the final quarter of the race now. Also, still seeing some improvement out on the track. I just saw that Shane Griffin set his personal best that last time by. And, Bobco just went by us with Will Lucas hot on his heels, so we might see an overall change for position a little bit farther back. Still some work to do to get up to our leaders in this class. There we can see them now, and it's already happened down into turn one. Will Lucas has his first victim.
Nicely done there, and let's see here. What is it? About 10 seconds up the road is going to be the next class car. That is Miller Richmond, like you were saying, the number 5 car. But 10 seconds, 8 minutes, it's going to be close.
It depends on if he can keep this pace up. Last time was about 3 seconds per lap once again. So I think that's pretty consistent. And that's with, well, I guess he made the overtake after he made the lap.
Yeah, and they should be, call it about 4 minutes remaining, roughly, right? Because we do our 7 minutes plus the 1 lap after that.
Yeah.
So,
here we go.
Yeah.
Coming down Madison Avenue. This is the exit that I'm sure Smither has been trying for time after time. Whatever may have happened, it's not going to work out for him. Capaldi is further ahead by the time they hit the brakes once again. Still a little bit of a look down the inside into the roller coaster. Smither trying to see if he could just get a crack in the armor from that 68.
What would be very interesting if Nick Smither was just kind of hanging out behind Leo Capaldi for the middle section of the race, maybe saving his stuff, saving his tires, saving his equipment. And now that he's got the word that it's under 10 minutes remaining, he is in full attack mode. That's kind of what I'm reading out here between this battle.
I gotta say, Cale Buell is doing a good job up at the front. Has extended his lead now up to 13.5 seconds. So he's just been clipping off those laps one by one. As we watch the battle between Capaldi and Smither come out of the horseshoe. Track weaves back into a little bit of a jink to the left here up to NASCAR Bend. This looks much wider than what we were seeing a little bit earlier. Capaldi may have found another gear.
Well, and the lap time was only 0.05 of a second difference between these two cars that we're watching. And that certainly seems like a bigger gap than 0.05 of a second from what we saw, at least down the back straightaway this previous lap. So maybe the number 58 had a little bit of a bobble in turn number 1 that we missed.
That's a good point. And it is easy to make mistakes at a track like this, especially with it being so cool out there. Keeping the temperature in the tires probably its own challenge. This is our overall leader and what looks like might be our first driver other than Will Lucas to win overall here in Mustang Cup. This first season has seen him absolutely dominate. But Cale Buell, when the opportunity has arisen, he's put his car in the right place, and he could be there at the right time to finally stand on the top step.
And remember, Cale has not necessarily had a super easygoing season, right? There's been some rough seas for him. Had a little bit of an issue, I believe, in qualifying back there at Road America, but then did such a great job to rebound during the race. Same thing back at COTA, his home race. A little bit of a difficult weekend for him, but it's never let this driver get to him, right? It's never affected how he shows up every single day to the racetrack. And here he is at VIR, one of the last rounds of the season, trying to put it all together.
And we have to remember, this is his first season of professional racing. He had done some track days, things such as that, some amateur racing, but stepping up to this level, this is a great sign of what we've seen him grown this season and learn and trying to put it all together today. Now 5 minutes plus a lap to finally get a win to his name. Will Lucas, if I'm seeing this right, is now a second and a half behind Richmond. He has already cut down on them.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to get by Richmond and Andrew Hortz probably this lap, and then maybe have a little bit of a stall out. It'll be interesting if he can catch the back of Nick Smither. I don't think it matters, right, because it's two different class cars, a Legends class versus the Dark Horse class. But I think that's probably the carrot that the team is telling Will Lucas. Yeah, you can go get him.
I also want to point out that Leo Capaldi started out 8th overall on this race. So for him to finish 2nd overall and win his class is an incredible run up through the field. Here we go with Will Lucas. That is Richmond in the white machine just in front of him. Not going to see anything coming into the climbing S's this time. No doubt he'll be waiting patiently until they get to Oak Tree.
What I think is going to be the telltale sign here is, remember earlier in the race, that number 34 car was so patient to make his way through the traffic. Let's see about the urgency this time. Does he try to force the issue with the number 5 car? It certainly doesn't seem like he's trying to force it side by side going into any of these corners. However, he has got a happy right foot laying down some 11s coming out of Oak Tree.
Yeah, you could plainly see the counter steering as he exit out of there. Even with that slip, he's still staying with him. He'll have the tow down Madison Avenue. It's up and over the crest as they disappear. And back into there. Wow, he is late on the brakes in comparison to Richmond, and he slices through up onto the podium spots in Dark Horse.
A little bit more decisive this time, and let's watch the closing rate here through what is the hog pen section. This requires so much commitment. This compression right here on the right-hander, you just have to trust that the car is going to grip up the front end, and look at that number 34. Got to give credit to Andrew Hortz, though. He actually got a terrific run as well. I'm not sure if Will's going to be close enough. However, we've seen how aggressive he is on the brakes.
And doesn't look like Andrew is going to defend down to the inside. Let him have that apex over him. That's 2 positions in 1 lap to give him P2 for Will Lucas. And now, unfortunately for him, this is where the progress in class stops, because 2 minutes plus a lap left to go. He's got 25 seconds to catch up. He's a fast driver. He's not that fast.
I wonder if he's going to get lost on the way to the podium, not to the top step.
I mean, yeah, you practically could have just put an outline of his shoes there, the way that it's been going this season. So he'll have to take a humble pill this time, but no doubt I'm sure he will rebound. I do think that there are going to be some necessary celebrations for Cale Buell, the way things are looking right now. Still at about 13 seconds. He's now been holding that gap steady between himself and P2. But again, we have to stress that is not within class between himself and Leo Capaldi. This is not going to be the white flag this time by, for those not familiar with this series. The +1 lap means the clock will hit 0, and then they will get the white flag the next time they see the line.
Think about what this does as a confidence booster for this driver. Cale has always been improving throughout this season, has had some tremendous results, sprayed some champagne on the podium, but this is what every driver is looking for, their class win, and not only their class win, the overall win. And when I talk about confidence, this is just the first race of the weekend for these drivers. He can now be confident carrying that speed into race number 2, carrying that speed into race number 3 here at VIR. So he should know after this one who his competition is, and it's pretty much looking in the rearview mirror only.
Yeah, his results so far in Parnelli Cup specifically this season sees second, third, second. Can he finally get up to the front with 2 laps left to go now? Down through the left hook for the white and green number 8, and then back through the right-hander, taking it out to the curb as he tries to maximize this track. Lucas still holding the fastest lap, but that won't mean anything. It is just the pole position that gets you the bonus points, which I believe for the first time has gone to Andrew Hortz. Every single time otherwise, it has been Will Lucas taking that bonus point.
Another thing that I've really liked out of watching Cale Buell here this race is how consistent he's been. His lap times have pretty much been within a second from when he started this thing. That last time, a 2:03.5, that pretty much puts him on pace with everybody else. Nobody is gaining on this number 8 car. One of the fastest race cars out there, and turning it lap after lap after lap.
We've now finally hit that 0 mark on the clock. Cale Buell, no doubt, getting the message. This is going to be the last lap for him once he hits that start-finish line. Leo Capaldi is not out of the woods yet, though. He is still leading Nick Smither by about half a second from what we've been seeing into the braking of the roller coaster. Just has to do this one more time next time around, Cale Buell. I'm sure the nerves starting to build, the excitement, that knowing he is so close to that win.
And, you know, sometimes it can get to a driver. And really, if you're on the radio, just tell him it's another lap. Don't even look up at the start-finish stand. Don't even see that white flag. Don't let him know that it's 1 lap to go. Just keep turning laps out here, because what you're doing right now is actually 0.2 faster than his previous lap.
I have to admit, whenever I'm sim racing, that is always one of my weaknesses. If I'm leading and it's towards the end, my lap time suddenly drops. So yeah, it very much is a thing. These competitors do have to work on that mental game, and that's what they are sharpening here in the Mustang Cup. The first step on the Ford ladder as they try to climb their way up towards top competition here in sports car racing in North America. So far, so good for Cale Buell as our others go past us. It is now about a second between Capaldi and Smither, so Leo once again giving himself just a little bit of a buffer.
We talked about the experience of Andrew Hords on pole position leading the field to the green flag. How about this experience right here? You know, it's one thing to lead the race, but it's another thing to manage it from out front. I think the closest the gap was about 6 seconds between Cale and the next second place runner, and he's actually grown that up to about 12.5, almost 13 seconds. So not only has he led this race, he has managed it from the front and grown that gap.
We'll have to keep our eyes on Andrew Hords and Miller Richmond. They're going to decide the last step of the Podium and Dark Horse class, and they've been separated by less than half a second for the last few laps. It has been tight down there between the pair of them. But right now we keep our eyes turned to the number 8. Just a couple corners to go. He's been working all season long to try and make this happen. And today, when the opportunity presented itself, he has grabbed it with both hands as his team stands on the wall ready to celebrate with him this first victory of his career. He exits out of hog pen. He gets on the loud pedal with a comfy margin. Today, your first-time winner is going to be Cale Buell.
Great drive from that number 8 car, bringing home the Dark Horse victory. Now we set our sights on the front straightaway. Leo Capaldi in the white number 68 is looking for his Legends class win, and he claims it with a checkered flag.
Also his first win in Legends class in this series. Smither in second. Will Lucas will come home with a second place. Who is going to wind up in third? It's going to be close, but Andrew Hords is going to sneak this one out, getting himself another podium.
Nice job. Miller Richmond certainly put up a good fight there. And here comes Walter Bobko. He is going to round out that Dark Horse Legends podium in that red number 98.
So last driver across the line going to be Shane Griffin. Looks like Paolo has decided to call this one a little bit early, considering he was not eligible for points. Maybe save the equipment now that he's got the experience he needs out there. And that will complete 8 cars taking the checkered flag after 10 of them started this. I think we can safely call the finishing order on this one, though. Cale Buell, your first-time winner overall and in the Dark Horse class. Leo Capaldi taking victory in Dark Horse Legends, with Nick Smither finishing second in those Dark Horse Legends, third overall. Then it was Will Lucas finishing P2 in his Dark Horse class. He was fourth overall. It was Andrew Hords finishing third in the Dark Horse class. He was fifth overall. Miller Richmond was P6. Bobko rounds out your Dark Horse Legends podium there with 7th overall. Griffin 8th overall. Capaldi and Salvatore were a D, N, F today. And we actually may have a car out of fuel. I'm just realizing. Yes, we've gone to Shane Griffin's car, and it is coasting up the hill. They may have cut the fuel just a little bit too tight.
You see, here's the crew right here just hoping on the car, wishing on the car to get it to start, finish. Oh, man. Little bit of a heartbreak. You know, you don't want to wear out the starter, but technically you could get on the starter and bump it over, but don't want to do that.
Yeah. I'm guessing it would not be legal if they jumped over and pushed him across the finish line.
No, you do not want people on a live racetrack. No.
Yeah, no, they have not been cleared for that. Oh, man, he is so close. That is about 100 feet that he is short.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, regardless, at least he did go to the end on this one. We're going to step away towards our podium ceremonies. Don't go away because we have more action coming.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Car IQ Pay allows people to pay for all vehicle expenses without a credit card or a fuel card. As an all-in-one payment solution, Car IQ Pay takes care of every step of the fueling journey, from station routing to payment and fraud prevention to simplification to back-end reconciliations. Drivers can find the nearest fuel station right on the app's fuel map, or even filter locations based on their preferred merchant or fuel type. It's seamless. Just a quick enter of the pump number and you're ready to fuel up. Car IQ Pay generates an automatic virtual receipt that enters into a single transaction ledger, giving fleet operators a complete simplified view of their total spend. What's even more, Car IQ Pay gathers vehicle data to give fleets complete transparency into their fleet, from route behavior to overall share of wallet. Car IQ, the better way for fleets to pay. Find out more at gocariq.com.
It's time for our podium ceremonies here in our Ford Parnelli Cup. Starting off with our Dark Horse class. Finishing third today, it's the driver of the number 23, Andrew Horse.
Go Andrew!
In second, driving the number 34, Will Lucas. And our first time winner in the number 8, Cale Buell. Well, Cale, I'm going to climb up to your right side here. So, I think you've been waiting for this one all season long. You've got seconds, you've got thirds, but what does it mean to stand on top?
I think to be first place means more than anything, because this is what every driver looks forward to in their entire life, is their first win, and it's something that they never forget. So, especially being here with all of you guys and my family and the Mustang Cup family, it's truly something I will never forget for the rest of my life.
Love seeing you standing here, and what kind of confidence does that give you going into the rest of the weekend?
It gives me a lot, just because now I have more confidence and assurance in the car and my ability and spots that I have on track that I can keep pushing through for the entire weekend and keep her going.
Great job out there, Cale, collecting your first win, first professional win. Everybody, give it up for your Dark Horse Podium.
And if our drivers could hold up our trophies, please. All right, now let's swap with the Yokohama hats, please. Let's hold up those trophies one more time. And now you get to spray some champagne! Congratulations to our Parnelli Cup Dark Horse Podium.
Bye, I love you. Oh, I saw you at dinner, yeah.
Up next, Cale will want to stick around because it's time for our Apex Award. This goes once again to the number 8 of Cale Buell. We have our Dark Horse Legends. Finishing third today, driving the number 98, Walter Bobko. In second, it's the number 58, our championship leader, Nick Smither. And our winner today, his first win in Dark Horse Legends, the 68, Leo Capaldi.
Well, Leo, I will climb up on the right side here and... come here, big guy. So, what a race. You're here claiming your first Mustang Cup victory, but it wasn't easy. You had to drive by a lot of cars to do it.
Yeah, the worst one was driving by my son when he was coasting, you know. So hopefully he'll be better off tomorrow.
I was going to ask you, if Craig wasn't going to win the race, I guess it really kind of fell on your shoulders to carry that Capaldi name to victory lane.
Well, I think he would have told me to. Yeah. No, I want to thank USAC first, Ford for putting on the series, and USAC for all the hard work they do, and you guys, and my team.
Thank you so much, and great win. Everybody give it up for your Dark Horse Legends Podium.